Welcome to BrainyHeart, everyone. This is Evelyn Goodman from Berlin. I've got Dolly Vera on the other line in London. She's a nutrition specialist, right? Among all, and she's a very exciting client, exciting guest for me. Maybe one day client as a neurofeedback and biofeedback.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
well, I saw Dolly's workshop in Neuromindfulness Institute, where I did a course in 2022. And she talked about in her workshop Konenki, namely the menopausis years. Um, and that blew my mind. She did not only talk about this very special period of time, she also talked about how we female should take care of our sleep cycle, how we should take care of the food we consume, and. So I felt back then I had to invite her. Welcome, Dolly, to my show, Brainy Heart. Say a few things about yourself, and then let's dive into the questions with Brainy Heart.
Great. Thank you, Evelyn, and welcome everybody from London. I am really honored to be part of this podcast. A little bit about my background. I am essentially, I've had about 25 years of corporate work experience in marketing, business innovation. But a few years back, I decided to change my career and I started delving into all things nutrition and neuromindfulness and wellness. And as a result, today I'm a nutritional therapist, I'm a functional medicine consultant, and also a neuromindfulness practitioner. It is fantastic to be on this podcast, especially on the topic of menopause, because I genuinely believe that my purpose in life is to help my clients and especially women to go through the perimenopause and the menopause journey with a lot of pride and a lot of health and well-being.
Indeed, indeed. So let's dive into the first question. I've got five for you. How do hormonal changes during menopause actually affect the brain, especially in the areas linked to memory, mood, and emotional intelligence? What can you say about that?
So, just to simplify this question a little bit, now think about our brain as a group chat where the cells are sending messages to each other. And these messages, let's say, are what we call the neurotransmitters. So, you would have heard the word dopamine, which is makes you feel really happy and great, and serotonin, which is the wellness hormone, and GABA, which is the sleep hormone. So, now in this group chat, think about estrogen is basically the Wi-Fi signal of the group chat, and progesterone is the noise control. Now, what happens is during menopause, estrogen drops, which means the Wi-Fi signal gets weaker, and messages don't send smoothly. And also progesterone drops, which disturbs the switch of noise control. So there's more noise in the brain. So that is essentially how I can simplify how the role of estrogen and progesterone. But then when you specifically talk about memory and focus, now the signals to the memory part of the brain slow down because of what we've just explained. And as a result, there's brain fog, there is loss of words. You walk into the room and you think, oh my God, where am I? And a lot of other things get impacted, like mood, because estrogen boosts serotonin production, and also emotional intelligence is something that gets compromised because estrogen and progesterone are responsible for the smooth communication between our emotional brain and our reasoning and regulation.
Exactly, exactly. Um, I mean, we do neurofeedback and biofeedback in our centrum. So this is exactly the parameters we take care of with clients who kind of suffer from brain fog, being disconnected with their from their body. Um, what really impressed me in your workshop back then was your statement of in Europe, we female interpret menopauses as the end of being female, right? It's the end of life cycle. We are good for nothing anymore, and like just hang me somewhere and then like leave me alone, kind of thing. And And you just introduced the new way of looking at this very special period in our lives, and then I felt like, oh, I was right. There's more to it, to menopause, than being at the end of my life, and being a female. Is that so?
Well, you're absolutely right. And in fact, it was a revelation for me as well when I was, researching and studying into all of this. So there are a few concepts here. One is that, I often think like menopause being a mirror of puberty. And we all women on earth have gone through puberty, and all of us will go through menopause. Now, it's like a mirror because during puberty, the body is turning hormones on. So everything is ramping up, new feelings, new curves, new mood, new identity. And menopause is essentially the opposite or the mirror, which is the hormones are turning down. So everything is rebalancing, the new feelings, new shifts, new identity again in this phase. And essentially, puberty feels like, who am I becoming? Whereas menopause feels like who I am now. So it is the same chaos, and I'm sure people remember that puberty wasn't so great for some people as well, but it's the same chaos but different direction. So in both, the brain and body are just finding their new control. And so
Rewiring, basically.
Exactly. So, puberty is essentially social and emotional brain outward, whereas menopause is more inward. So, it's a neurological reset that shifts from accommodating others to protecting your own energy and clarity and purpose.
Wow, exactly. I mean, and I really love this expression, Konenki, rewiring of the brain, interpreted by Japanese culture. It truly blew my mind, this very concept. Um, I wonder sometimes why it was so badly introduced. Menopause has got a very bad um, name in Europe, or European cultures and Western cultures, where in Asia Pacific, and even in Orient, I can imagine that this word expression is not as badly used as in Western culture. Yeah, I mean, I know a number of women who are really literally in depression because they think it's the end of their lives. Yeah, so
Yes, yes. Yeah, it's
well,
unfortunate. Yeah.
love, what do we do? What do we recommend to those female who suffer really from this hormonal changes? Is that, I mean, I can just say, as a neurofeedback and biofeedback specialist, well, try neurofeedback and biofeedback wherever you are. It doesn't have to be, in Berlin. So there are good approaches out there where you can just really reconnect to your body and to your brain. But for sure, there are other things to do. Uh, Dear Dolly, what can the female do to also at home regulate? Because neurofeedback you can do once or twice a week, but then they just go live their lives. What can they do outside these training moments?
So that's a really important question. And when I see my clients who are who are going through the perimenopause and menopause, I think for me the top three things that you can really focus on is sleep, nutrition, and stress regulation. And I can talk about it a little bit on each of the topics. So sleep is very important because when we are going through perimenopause and menopause, our progesterone drops. And you remember when I spoke earlier that progesterone is responsible for this calming hormone called GABA, or a neurotransmitter called GABA. Now, um, when progesterone drops, it makes our mind more alert at night and more reactive to stress. And that feeling of, I'm tired, but I'm wired and I don't get the sleep. So it is very, very important during this phase to regulate our sleep routine, to help the repair of the neurons, to help the cleanup in the brain, and to basically enable the balance of neurotransmitters. And I would say there are lots of ways in which you can facilitate or balance out sleep, which is having a really good sleep routine, sleep in a cool bedroom, avoid screens, and that is, I think, the most important, which I also struggle with sometimes. But at least about 60 to 90 minutes before sleep, you should stop looking at screens, because that will support the melatonin production. So that was a little bit about the sleep. And then when it comes to nutrition, I think the number one for me is to regulate our blood sugars. And what I mean is that when we eat a lot of sugar or carbohydrate rich foods, our blood sugars, they spike and then they drop and they go into like a roller coaster. And this roller coaster stage really messes our hormones, which are already messed up in this stage. So we don't want more of that happening. So we need to stabilize our blood glucose levels by eating nutritious, rainbow colored fruits and vegetables, a lot of protein, a lot of good fats, and really reduce the refined, dirty carbohydrates from our diets. So to sort of balance that blood sugar spikes. And then finally, stress regulation, because what happens is stress elevates our cortisol, and with the elevation of the cortisol, it suppresses the hippocampus memory networks, and it also makes memory and focus even worse in this phase. So we really need to reduce our stress
I'm
levels.
glad you say that. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And we female tend to, I mean, like the more you just stare on your phones and we hang around in rooms, then don't go out, and there's very little serotonin in our body, then you certainly are more receptive to stress.
Yes. Yes.
And then you ruminate a lot, you think about the day, what has been, who said what to you, and all that jazz.
Yes.
And that is then raising up and increasing your cortisol level.
Yes.
One of my colleagues once, we had a talk. She's a psychiatrist, as and Sandra Blagage, ladies and gentlemen. If you'd like to have a word with a brainy heart, sharing is caring. I live that. So Booker, she once told me this wonderful story. What is the biggest difference between dogs and the humans? Asked her first lecturer at the university, and then he said, well, imagine duck number one swimming in the pond, enjoying the day. Duck number two flies and comes very close to the duck number one. And duck number one feels, stressed and, like disturbed by him, just does like this. And then the duck number two flies away, and it's done for them. It's done for them. Duck number one swims ahead and the other one flies off, says, oops, wrong moment, choose, leaves, right? So what do we do as humans? Because we've got a memory, then,
Yeah.
oh, this duck number two, this destroyed my day. And we take this duck number two,
Yes.
maybe the
Yes.
whole day long, maybe the whole week and whole month with us. Imagine
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
it's a good idea, just like you clean your phones regularly from the apps, to do that with your brains, with our brains, is extremely important. So I'm taking with me, sleep is very important. Nutrition, good fat is very important in this very period, you said, Dolly.
Yes. Yes.
Then this is menopause the second puberty. Can I say that? Can I take this with me as a,
Well,
or how
it
would
is,
you?
yeah, it like I said before, it is a phase like puberty. And I think one thing that I sort of missed highlighting in my previous question is the importance of exercise. In puberty, obviously we are so active, we are young, we are out and about, and we don't really talk much about exercise at that point in time, because also we are into sports and stuff. But I think during menopause we need to really take care of our bodies, our muscle mass. So strength training is highly recommended. So 2 to 3 sessions of maybe 30 to 40 minutes, 3 times a day, 3 times a week is fantastic to maintain our muscle mass, to maintain what we call the BDNF, which is brain derived neurotropic factor, which is very, very important for our brain health as well, and cognitive resilience. So I can't really emphasize more on the importance of exercise.
Exactly. So then omega-3, as many nutritionists say, and omega 3, and 6 is not the good one, right?
Yeah, yes. Well, we really talk about omega-3 in the sense of EPA and DHA. And DHA, as we all know, we grow up with it. Is DHA is very crucial for the brain. So omega-3 is really essential. So you can get it through your oily fish, so your sardines, mackerels, salmon, or you can, if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, or you don't eat fish, then you can buy high quality omega-3 supplements which have really good amount of DHA and EPA. So omega 3s are very important because they're anti-inflammatory. And as we sort of age and go through the phase, our inflammation in the body increases. So we really everything leads to inflammation, whether it's poor sleep or stress or things that we are doing on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, omega 3 is important.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. Um, vitamin D, is it
Yes.
good for our for such a period or all the time? What does the nutritionist say that when I have you online, then I have to ask all these vitamins right now?
Absolutely, absolutely. So vitamin D, again, you could go to your local GP and get a vitamin D test done. And normally, and I'm talking about the UK, where as per the NHS, if you have vitamin D levels of 30 plus, you are good. But as a nutritionist, I think your vitamin D levels should be at least more than 50.
Mhm.
So I would say during winter months where you do not naturally get sunlight, it is always a good idea to supplement with a good vitamin D, vitamin D3. You could look at vitamin D3 plus K2 because that helps absorption of vitamin D3. I would say uh, as an optimum dose every day during winter months, about 1,000 IU of vitamin D3 is really good. And I'm only talking about winter months, but again, like I would always say, get yourself measured. If your vitamin D is low, then you need more. If your vitamin D is optimal, then maybe just supplement during winter months because you
Mhm.
won't get sunlight.
I can perfectly follow you. Now, we're on the 17th minute mark. So I'd like to ask you another very important question because one of my friends, she suffered from depression, brain fog, all these effects of menopause years. And she just said, well, I don't want to take progesterone because I heard it makes women sick, and then I'll get cancer then, or something like this. So I think this is a superstitious belief, but I'd like to ask you as the professional. So would you recommend ladies to regulate these hormonal levels, certainly with a gynecologist? I can imagine with a with another specialist. But would you recommend that? I think this is a superficial belief. When you take progesterone, you're going to get cancer or something. Now, this is a kind of myth.
Well, it's an important question and it's a good topic, and but I would like to sort of say that it's a long topic of discussion and it's
We're
slightly
gonna do another
controversial.
interview,
Yeah,
Jolie.
yeah. But
So
just
this
to
is it's given, yeah.
yeah,
So
just to summarize, so essentially hormone replacement therapy has become very popular, and essentially I would say as a nutritional therapist that if you are going through severe depression, or if your menopausal state is not manageable, or if it's making your quality of life really poor, then you can absolutely go and speak to your specialist and look at hormone replacement therapy. However, personally, I do believe that it is how nature designed us women to be. It is how we are naturally supposed to go through puberty and menopause. And I think if we take care of our health, our wellness, our mind, our lifestyle, we should more or less be able to regulate this without support of synthetic hormones in our body. Just to again to sort of clarify the point that you made, that there was a big study that was done in the past, which is now controversial, that taking hormone replacement therapy caused some kinds of cancers. I think there. I don't think that it has been proven or disproven because the study was flawed. But yeah, I mean, this only happens if you take hormone replacement therapy for a very, very long time, like 5 years or 10 years, which is
exactly.
definitely not the case. So yeah, there's not much of strong evidence behind that.
Excellent. This was important for me to raise this very question. Dolly, what's more important for you, brain or heart or a brainy heart? What do you think?
You know, Evelyn, when you send me this question, and it's such a brilliant question. It is such a thought provoking question, and I really spent time thinking about it. So I would say both are important. The brain sort of helps you make sense of life, how we live, the logic, the planning, the survival, whereas the heart helps you make the meaning of all of it. It helps you live with purpose and direction. So really, I would say the way I'd like to live is letting the heart choose the destination and letting the brain figure out the route to it.
Oh my God, you just wrapped it up so very well. You're a true brainy heart, apparently.
Thank
Dear
you.
audience, as you can see, we cannot get enough of Dolly today. There are a lot of questions to raise about nutrition because we all would like to take the lead and take the driver's seat in our lives, and do not want to give the things to chance anymore. This is our times, and that's why I would like you to book her, find her online. I'll also put her link to this interview. Certainly, connect her, raise questions. This is a specialist who knows what she's talking about. And Dolly, as mentioned, you're welcome to my show again in 2026. Let's just dive into the world of well-being, female, male, and maybe even kids in that direction. In this sense,
Great.
everyone, Dolly, would you like to wrap it up?
Yes, thank you very much, Evelyn. It was wonderful talking to you and lovely questions. I would say your show is such a great platform to reach out to a great audience and, share the voices and share the real stories. So, really, thank you for doing this. People watching the show, please subscribe, please like, please share, because yeah, we are on a
Exactly.
mission to spread the stories and word and improve health and wellness.
Exactly. Because sharing is caring, ladies and gentlemen. In this sense, take care, keep
Thank
your
you.
socks dry. See you next time.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.